All right, we're going to get started. Thank you to everyone who's joined and is joining the Zoom room right now to take part in this virtual EcoMotion Gala together with our partner Honda Accelerator Ventures. My name is Jennifer Schwarz. I'm the Executive Director of EcoMotion, and I'm joined by Asaf Oren and Danielle Levy from the EcoMotion team today. So today in this virtual space, we have many of our community members, startups, investors, and industry partners from 24 countries, and every continent represented according to those who registered for the event. So that's very exciting and impressive. We hope and invite you to stick around online until the very end to have a chance to meet and greet someone new from the ecosystem through breakout rooms. So hang tight and hope you'll stay with us. I want to start by saying EcoMotion is a global community based in Israel. I'm speaking to you right now from Tel Aviv. And it's important to note that Israel is still at war today. If there is a siren alarm in Tel Aviv in the coming hour, we'll take a short pause to go to the shelter and return shortly after. So for those not in Israel right now, thank you for your patience and stay with us. Our lives in Israel were turned upside down starting the morning of October 7th. And since then, life is no longer as we know it. Each person in Israel is directly or indirectly affected by a lost soul, a soldier in reserve duty, a family member displaced, kids not in school, concern for the kidnapped, volunteering, and so much more going on. I want to acknowledge a longtime EcoMotion community member, Ruby Chen, whose son Itai was kidnapped on October 7th by Hamas and is still held hostage. Ruby formerly worked at Hyundai Cradle, NEC, and works closely today with Fortelix and Seam Shipping, also members of our community. He's been traveling and speaking out loudly, advocating for Itai and for all hostages to be released. Ruby, we support you in all your efforts to bring Itai home, and we pray with you for Itai's safe return. This war is impacting every aspect of society. High-tech is no exception. Between 15 to 20% of the high-tech employees have been called up to reserve duty. But Israel being Israel, this country triumphs over adversity, and we know only to look forward. Resilience is simply in our DNA. The spirit ensures that business continues no matter what. And we know that the best and the brightest will continue to innovate and not only survive, but thrive in this period. So in the coming hour, EcoMotion has a lot prepared for you, so don't miss a beat. This event is called State of the Ecosystem. And I'm going to take you on a journey looking at the macro trends in mobility technology. Then we'll hear perspectives from a corporate investor and narrow down into the local Israeli ecosystem and hear directly from startups about how their companies are moving forward since the war began. And today we're celebrating and announcing the launch of our report, Mobility Tech as a Source of Innovation, Israel's Smart Mobility Startup Ecosystem. Over the past 5 months, EcoMotion was very proud to collaborate with McKinsey's Center for Future Mobility and the local McKinsey Israel office to publish this report with qualitative and quantitative data analysis. Our hope is that this report will inform both investors and innovators and also highlight the Israeli mobility tech ecosystem as a great case study for how we can advance mobility solutions. So to formally launch this report and share with us about global tech trends, I'm pleased to welcome Kirsten Heinecke, partner at McKinsey's Frankfurt office and co-leader of the McKinsey Center of Future Mobility. So Kirsten, thank you for your partnership on this report, and I pass the floor to you.
Thank you so much for having me and for having us. And I can only say thanks for doing this report together with us. It was a true pleasure. I've been a proud guest at EcoMotion for a couple of years now, actually for 2 years now, joining the main event, joining EcoMotion Week. It has always been a tremendous pleasure. And I have to say I have the utmost respect, not only for the Israeli startup ecosystem in per se and the Israeli startup community and all of EcoMotion community, but especially what you've been going through over the last couple of weeks and months, and then also how you've managed to persevere so far, and how you've managed to keep the country going and keep the work going. I would like to share a few excerpts from our report today, and we'll sort of start a bit with what we are seeing overall in mobility. I think most of these things are not going to be surprising to anybody here because you're all part of the community, and it's probably also part of the story that you're talking about every day, or at least part of the work that you do every day. But in our mind, what you can see is that mobility on the very, very high level is going to change significantly in the next coming years. And we have tried to illustrate this by showing the change in how people move from A to B, or the changes in modal mix going forward. And what we see when we do take a look at this, and this is now a transportation perspective worldwide, so across all of the different parts of the world, across cities, across rural areas, across first world countries, across countries that aren't necessarily part of the first world when it comes to income, we do see some massive shifts. And I think the most massive shift you can see here is that the private car miles are ultimately going down, and that these vehicle kilometers are being shifted into different modes of transport, into public transit to a certain extent, into ride-hailing, into micro-mobility, but then also into new forms of transport, such as robo-taxis, robo-shuttles, and other forms of autonomous transport. So we see this massive revolution of transport. We see it happening due to a multitude of reasons. Obviously, climate change is a big push here to make sure that we, one, electrify, but then two, also consume mobility not only more eco-friendly, but also more efficiently. And then we have all of the other trends that we've been debating for a while around electrification, autonomous vehicles, shared transportation, and then obviously also software. But again, this is something you all know. A big part of this is obviously being driven by startups and scale-ups. And yes, let's move on to the next page. So I think the most important piece here is if you look at the investment volumes over the last couple of years, and what we've done here is we've again taken the sort of ACEs or case clusters and added digitization as another trend. You do see that there's been lots of money invested. Electrification, the blue line, is by far the one that is sort of topping everything else, with a spike obviously sort of towards Q4 2021, Q1 2022. You also do see that most of the lines are basically decreasing since the war in Ukraine started, and since sort of the world also changed with that respect. But you can see that a few of the lines, if you look to the very right corner, bottom corner of the page, are actually starting to slightly go upwards again. So we actually do see that investments are continuing and are starting again. We then took a look at how does this fit sort of across the world, and if you can take a look at this, and if you sort of see this, how much investment has been made in different countries and how much money has been invested, and we actually do take a look at the per capita. There's a clear number one, and that clear number one is Israel. Yes, given this was also largely driven by two large deals involving the same company. But if you just take a look at the number of companies where investments have been made, and just compare that with my home country of Germany. So Germany has around 83 million people. That's about 8x of Israel. And the number of investments is 2.5x. And the amount per capita and also the total disclosed amount is significantly smaller. So I think this is always the story. If somebody asks me, like, Kerstin, why do you spend time in Tel Aviv? And I say, it's not only for the food, it's not only for the people, it's not only for the sun. It's also because the tech ecosystem there is simply on a completely different level if you compare it to a country like Germany or also other European countries. Moving on, we then also took a look at where is this actually coming from, and we've got the same structure again around autonomous connected mobility services and a few other clusters, and took a look at how is the investment structured across these different clusters. And again, you can see autonomous and connected plays a significant role. Mobility services and electrification and energy likewise plays a relevant role. And it's ultimately a very clear focus. And I think this is all represented by the type of work that the tech ecosystem is working on. And in my mind, it is also very interesting because all of these are very, very future-looking technologies, and all of these are technologies that have not yet, and I think that's a positive thing, reached their full potential in the sense that there is still lots of innovation happening and that we're still far away from 100% adoption. I think we've got And I was asked this in a different interview about 2 weeks ago, like how much more time is there to work on future of mobility? And I said, I believe I can retire on that. And I'm 38, so I think there is still lots of work to do. And you're clearly working on the forward-looking trends and on the quote-unquote right trends. Moving on, coming a bit to, if you will, our conclusions, right? And one, what is making the ecosystem stand out? What is differentiating the ecosystem? And what should be done to keep it where it is or evolve it even further, probably. I think the whole global connection, global connectivity to investors, to customers, to other types of stakeholders is one that will clearly need to be kept up or even strengthened and built out further. Because given, and I'm coming back to my comparison in terms of size of Germany versus Israel, right, and size of the startup ecosystem, this will always be quote unquote an export game. So in my mind, this global involvement in the global stakeholder ecosystem, in the mobility ecosystem, is definitely one key element, right? I think the other piece, and that's also nothing new or sort of surprising, talent is driving tech, period, and being and remaining attractive for talent, both for local talent, but also for foreign talent, is something that has been an advantage so far. And staying attractive for this talent base is something that is absolutely, or we consider absolutely critical. And this is, again, all of these insights are not something we sort of thought up or came up with, but it's all based on an extensive survey we did with, I'm assuming some of you, and with a broader ecosystem and with a broader EcoMotion community. So we're basically playing back a bit what we have heard. And then last but not least, what I find very interesting and what I think is also a huge advantage of a country like Israel or an ecosystem like Israel compared to others is this is not only sort of mobility is not one industry, right? I think mobility is something that cuts across many, many different topics. I've personally worked in about 15 industries on mobility topics. And I think this clearly goes to show that the expertise and the requirements, the pain points, if you will, from all of these different industries, if you combine them, you can actually deliver solutions that not only are super attractive to the customers because you're catering to multiple industries, but they're also very, very innovative and very creative. And they actually help not only solve the company's problem, but to a certain extent, society's problem. Let me take this opportunity to thank again everybody who contributed to this report, in the EcoMotion team, in the community, in our teams across the world. Thank you so much for this. We couldn't have done it without the help. I personally especially couldn't have done it without the help of all of the stakeholders. And very much looking forward to having a discussion about this. You know where to find us. You know where to find me. I've also seen a few familiar faces on the call here. So we're very happy to dive deep into the report or support you on any other topic. Let us know. We're always there. Thank you so much for the time, and thank you so much for having us and for the great collaboration with EcoMotion over the last couple of years. I'm sure this was not the last EcoMotion event that I was able to speak at, or at least that's what I hope, that I will be invited back. Looking forward to this. Thank you.
Amazing. Kirsten, thank you so much for sharing your insights to launch this report after many months of collaborative work. Asaf here is going to now share with you the link in the chat, so all of you can read the executive summary and download the report and follow up with any of us accordingly. So from these macro trends to the reality within the industry, now I want to welcome our partner for this event, Honda Accelerator Ventures, and the local Israel representative, Ben Reuveni, to reflect on how are these trends playing out in the innovation strategy of Honda, and to share more about where is the company ready to invest. So Ben, welcome. The screen and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thanks to the EcoMotion team. Nice to see so many familiar faces here. I want to take 5 minutes and share with you a little bit of Honda Innovations. You know Honda Innovations, we are active in this ecosystem for a few years now, but kind of to relate to the report we just have seen and how this reflects in our activity. Just share my screen. Can you see this?
Seems like it's loading. We don't see it yet.
Okay, sorry for that. Let's give it another try. You can see this?
No, it says no. Now we do.
Okay. Oh. You see it full screen? It's throwing me so many.
We don't see full screen yet. Ben, are you with us? Is Ben frozen here? Looks like Ben might be frozen. So you know what? Let's wait a moment until Ben gets back online, and we're actually gonna then move on to our. Oh, 1 second. He's entering the room. Thanks for your patience. Ben, are you with us?
Okay, I'm sorry for that. Can you let me reshare the screen? Can you open this option? Host disabled the screen option.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should have it now. Go for it.
Okay. Do you see this slide?
It hasn't loaded yet.
No?
But Ben, I suggest maybe speak it, and we saw it before. So speak
Okay.
your slides.
Okay. So generally speaking, Honda Accelerator Ventures is a new activity for Honda Innovations, relatively new. It's a little bit over 1 year old. So far, we've been active with many POCs and smaller collaborations. But in the last few months, we've been looking into investments, direct investments by Honda Japan into startup companies that are of our interest and that can help us help Honda go into achieving its vision when it comes to the new Honda as a mobility company and not a car or motorcycle company. So in addition to the tools that we already had, which revolved around strategic partnerships and some M&As, very strategic M&As, and open collaborations, we now do those strategic investments with an $80 million fund that is 100% by Honda Motors Japan, and it is intended to be spent on 5 years. So far, this is things that you already know. I had the pleasure to be talking in the same event last year, in the EcoMotion investor event last year. So this is not news. What's new is our scope. We have expanded our scope. We were focused on mostly Israel, Europe, and US. Now we are doing also Canada and 2 locations in the US. Needless to say, in addition to HQ in Japan, and the fact that we are not looking on the traditional core capabilities and activities of cars, mobility, and motorcycles. We are actually looking into the broader sense of the potential products of Honda, future ones, smaller projects that haven't been gotten a lot of market success. So we're talking about aerospace and robotics and fuel cells, mobility assistance, walk assist. and so on. Now, all those products are actually aimed to become carbon neutral and be involved in zero accidents. That's the vision for Honda for the next 30 years. This has to come with a reshape of the basic mobility products like cars and motorcycles, but also reshape of the manufacturing facilities that Honda has and the energy sources that Honda is using. So we are obviously looking a lot into sustainability, climate tech, circular economy, and zero emissions. And in the last over a year, as I've said, the investment activity, which was just recently announced, was able to make few really nice achievements in terms of investments. We are, we need to put it on the table. Honda is a new player when it comes to investment. As a non-very experienced investor, we are very happy with this small portfolio that we have built. As you can see, the outreach is global. We've done most of our investments in the US, but we've also, and I'm very proud to say that, done one investment here in Israel, more to come. That's my responsibility. And one in Germany, one in Japan. Most of them, the vast majority, are helping Honda to achieve the vision that the report just discussed. How do we make sure there is less pollution from our products? How do we do this transition from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles? And I'm not talking about hybrids that are already 20 years, at least with Honda, 20 years old products that are hybrid. I'll just touch on maybe the Israeli example because it's the one that I like most. Entitao, a small company that has major technological risks, but a huge promise as well. They're doing they're developing a nuclear fusion technology that will eventually enable EV charging or electricity production in general in a small distributed manner. Small, I'm talking about a container size company. So we were okay, that's the end of the presentation, but hope you could hear that, the last sentence about Entitao.
Yep, Ben, we were able to hear you and see you, but we didn't see your slides, unfortunately.
Okay, that's what I said. This is the end of my presentation, but I did want to emphasize the fact that we are working here in Israel with partners. Again, following so many POCs with so many startups, each and every one can be considered as a partner of Honda Innovations, but specifically we are working with Drive TLV and with their affiliated VC operation and Next Gear Ventures. So we have our local footprint to help make those investments. And this is exactly what we are trying to achieve. The idea here today is to actually tell you guys we are open for business and we are looking not only globally, but in a very diverse sense when it comes to topics and areas. So from nuclear vision to battery recycling and to connectivity and obviously autonomous driving. So we would be happy very much to make the second investment here in Israel with the help of you guys. Thank you.
Amazing. Ben, thank you so much. And I know you're very available in the Israeli ecosystem and appreciate your partnership.
Thank you.
So I told you we're going on a journey from macro to micro, and now is our time to dive into the Israeli ecosystem. Chapter 3 of the report that we published focuses on Israel and what makes Israel unique. We decided that the best way to convey the highlights of this part of the report is through a short video featuring some guest appearances. So tune in for the next 2 minutes to see and hear the highlights.
Mobility is a fundamental part of our daily lives. This evolving sector is ripe for new innovation. At the forefront of this change are the disruptors, the visionaries, and the entrepreneurs. Israel has become a geographic hub for new automotive and mobility technologies. Israel is the fourth largest mobility startup hub globally, with over $30 billion invested, and is ranked #1 in investment per capita globally. Today, there are 724 active Israeli mobility tech companies.
We're amazed to find every week at least 2 new startups, new technologies, and new verticals that gives us multiple opportunities for collaborations.
Between years 2018 and 2023, there were 13 IPOs and 47 acquisitions of Israeli companies.
The biggest strength of the Israeli mobility ecosystem, in my eyes, besides the technology, are the people.
Investors, entrepreneur, corporate representatives, and the government all propel innovation forward together, especially during challenging days like today.
In times of adversity, the true spirit of innovation and resilience shines brightest.
We are happy to work with Israeli startups and innovative technologies we find here. Now, we have even signed POCs in November or in October and front-loading in Q1 for next year already.
The Israeli ecosystem was, is, and will be very important for us.
Together, in solidarity, we move forward. To our Israeli friends and partners, we are with you.
We support Israeli tech no matter what.
Continental will continue to support you as we are convinced of the power of the Israeli ecosystem.
We steer towards a future, imagining and implementing solutions to global mobility challenges. So, where can mobility technology take us? Join us on this mission.
Great. So thank you to our partners Connect, Continental, BMW, Up Partners, and Michigan Israel Business Accelerator for your contribution to this video and ongoing partnership. As we looked now at the Israel ecosystem, I want to welcome a few of our startups to join me from the community and to offer a startup perspective on the current situation in Israeli tech and looking ahead towards tomorrow. So I welcome Sophie Tuvau, VP of Business Development at UBQ Materials, Amit Rosenzweig, CEO and co-founder of Atopia, and Moshe Schlissel, CEO and co-founder of Gardnox Cyber Technologies. So you're here in the crowd when I call your name, just open your mic and join us. I want to start with Sophie from UBQ. Your company is located in the south of Israel, very close to the Gaza border. How has your company responded and managed the situation and come together to support your workers in the past 2 months?
Well, it has been a challenge. I must say that we were very affected. 2 of our crew members were killed on October 7th. We lost 2 very valuable people, and their families, communities were heavily disrupted. However, in the spirit of we deliver and we keep moving forward, I can tell you that 4 days after that, our team was in the plant, moving inventory towards customers across the world. So everything can go wrong, but we still go forward.
Sophie, just share with us what UBQ is and does, and what you mean by the plant I'm
sorry, I thought that everybody knew UBQ. So UBQ is a startup. We are very different than everybody else's here because we are on the material world. We have a technology that transforms garbage, waste, into a thermoplastic material that replaces plastics in the manufacture of plastic products. We are manufacturing plastic auto parts for most of the OEMs in these ecosystems already. We are validating the material for auto parts, And we hope that in the future, a car made out of waste will be a default.
Yeah. Thank you, Sophie. We're going to go over to Moshe from Gardnox. Happy to hear how has your company responded in the past 2 months post-war?
First, I'll start saying what Gardnox is doing. Gardnox is focused on software-defined vehicle. We're developing a software platform and a middleware for the software-defined vehicle, a software that saves a lot of money, consolidating ECUs, and one of the main USPs is that we are providing tools that saves thousands of engineers from one hand and expedite the time to market from years to weeks. We're doing that by hardware abstraction, which means you develop your software only once and then you can migrate from platform to platform. I think that the recent period of time since October 7th is a challenge. It's a challenge for leadership. I think that we've seen those challenges in COVID. We've seen those challenges in other military operations, but now with those atrocities and horrific time that we've all seen in October 7th, the issue is how do you keep on delivering while your employees and your second family is under enormous stress. Some of our employees are with young kids, so they cannot come, and we need to develop a flexible way to accommodate all kinds of needs. For example, the need to work in different hours, the need to be with their husbands or without their husbands because they were enlisted, and so on and so forth. I think that the major issue is how do you keep the team together? How do you able to keep the team spirit, and on the same time convince your customers that even though Israel is under war, you will be delivering on time, period. Because otherwise they will start questioning whether they should work with us. And this is what we have been doing. One of our team member, her father-in-law was shot. Others were wounded, but our team was working together in order to help our soldiers with their different needs, raising funds for them, solving problems, and eventually even last week by volunteering and helping different guys with their agriculture issues. So again, it's a lot of sensitivity and flexibility, and when the goal is that first to understand that we will overcome, and the goal is to prevail.
Moshe, thank you. And we're going to pass this off to Amit from Utopia.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jennifer, and thanks, everyone, for having me here. I will share my screen just in a moment to explain a bit about how we are dealing with this situation. So just 1 minute about Utopia before we do that. So we are a teledriving software company, and what is that? What is teledriving? Basically, self-driving is delayed. It takes much more time to productize autonomy, full autonomy. But the good thing is that consumers are all interested about the benefits of the self-driving experience, meaning I want to save time, I want to have the luxury, I want my car to be parked, whether it's in the street or in a lot, without me spending time I want the car to go to, periodic checkups and refueling, charging. I want the car to take me to the airport and back. So all of those things and many more are actually enabled today by teledriving instead of self-driving. And teledriving is remote driving. So you press a button and somebody else is doing the driving for you. And this became 5 years ago when the company started, it was still a niche, but now it becomes bigger and bigger, and soon you'll be able to buy a car where you actually have this capability where you press the button and somebody else is driving. And this is not surprising because it sits in the intersection of two automotive mega trends, which is one, connected car, and two, subscription services. So we are a software company doing teledriving. We're the market leader doing that. So that's about Autopia. And in terms of how are we dealing, so it's a big question. I'll share our approach. We like circles, and we like to divide things into three. So 3 circles is the best thing. It's divided into 3 categories. So employees, business, and community. I'll start with the employees. We're giving much more to our employees since October 7th. So we already gave a lot. We have pretty flexible work from home policies and giant welfare program. But since October 7th, we realized that we need to give more. We need to pay more attention to our employees, whether it's those who were directly impacted. And unfortunately, we have a few employees whose family members were murdered. So since October 7, much more interest, much more, I call it, we don't leave any corner, any dark corners. We use a virtual flashlight to have a lot of interest in our employees, both from a management perspective and HR perspective. And of course, people with kids, with young kids, we have to be even more flexible than usual when it comes to working hours. And yes, you can work from home today, et cetera, et cetera. Part of that, we also gave a grant for mental health. So we are subsidizing mental health care for our employees who are requesting that. We are encouraging them to be under a mental health program, to meet with therapists. And we're also participating in the funding for that. So that's the first category, which is the most important, the employees. The second category is like any organism. If you want to demand more, you need to give more. So yes, we're also demanding more. And what I mean by that is that I think that doing good, whether it's business-wise or community-wise, which we'll talk in a second, it's also part of healing. It's not just part of business continuity and business as usual and meeting our KPIs, et cetera, et cetera. It also reduces the chances of PTSD. And this is proven. So it connects to the employees. The bottom line is that we demand more from our employees, not less. And this is counterintuitive because most of the CEOs that I'm speaking with, because of the situation, which is very, very natural, and the flexibility, which I just talked about a moment ago, they would say things like, okay, so maybe we skip the next customer workshop in the US or in Germany because, it's hard now. There are less flights and it's more cumbersome to fly. But we say no to that. We go to all the workshops. We haven't canceled a single workshop abroad since October 7. And thank God we have like every week we have something abroad where we need to send people to fly. And we do a lot of business abroad. So we maintain our high standards, and it also requires a better prioritization. And what I mean by that, before October 7, we were able to say, yes, in 6 months or 9 months, this and that will happen, period. Now, because there is a bit more ambiguity and a bit more change, for example, 25% of our employees are in active reserve duty. So the rest of the 75%, they have to chip in. They have to participate even more. Startup is challenging as it is, but now in order to deliver the remaining 75%, at least currently, they chip in even more, and we push ahead. So it begins with the management pushing ahead, and it trickles down to the entire company to maintain our highest standards. And last but not least, community. This is mostly new for us. We've been always doing volunteering, but it was a bit sporadic, nothing too serious. But since October 7, we only buy services, or at least we try to buy services from businesses who were directly impacted. Food, honey, giveaways, every happy hour that we do, our HR team makes sure that we spend all our money on businesses, small businesses from the area around the Gaza Strip, in order to support them directly. Another thing that we're doing is a shekel for shekel or a dollar for dollar donation. We donated many thousands of shekels by combining whatever the employees are giving with the company. And last but not least, personally, I was privileged to start a $100 million fund, which is called the Israeli Children's Fund, which donates money to orphans and potentially other children, not just orphans who got orphaned, unfortunately, on October 7. It's going quite well. You can read about it. I encourage you to donate, of course. And we've already supported hundreds of families, some of them families who are, parents that were murdered, both parents, one parent, and some just overall traumatized and damage to their house, and a lot of economic needs that you don't read about every day. So these are the three circles: employees, we give more; business, we demand more; and community, we are much more in contact and trying to be active and be a good power in serve of the community.
Amit, thank you. I want to stay with you, since we're already with you as a spotlight, and move to the next question. Hear from you about how are you looking towards the ecosystem a year from now? What opportunities do you anticipate will emerge from this war, this crisis? And the same question is going to go also to Moshe, to Sophie, but we'll stick with Amit while we're with them.
So unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't work at McKinsey. But I'm maybe you can feel it that I'm very optimistic. The energy, the sheer power of the communities, the community in Israel, the people that I meet, so much good, so much volunteering. It blew my mind. Just like I started a fund, there's like 25 different funds that people just started for hundreds of millions of dollars and donations. And so if we double click on the Israeli high-tech scene, and specifically automotive, I'm also specifically more optimistic than I was just a year ago, because I believe this challenging, this adversity, this time of adversity, it does take the good out of it. Like it makes us stronger. That's what I see in the field today. So if I have to extrapolate, I believe that many new businesses will be established soon, whether it's automotive or not, and many existing businesses will come out of it stronger. So overall, no specific prediction, but the trend that I feel that I predict is actually quite good.
Thank you. Over to Sophie, please.
Well, truly, I agree with Amit. I mean, optimism and being optimistic is a part of me. So that's, I see a very optimistic light at the end of the tunnel. I think that we have really overcome a very big challenge. And for UBQ as part of the ecosystem, and for UBQ as a company, we are also at that critical stage in which we are graduating from our startup status, and we are commencing production in our large-scale facility in the Netherlands next week. So it is really a very positive time. I mean, I can tell you that the week after the event, I mean, the event was on October 7th, And on October 10th, we were chosen by Times as one of the 200 best inventions in 2023. So positive signs are all over, and we need to really be optimistic and stay strong.
Absolutely. It's this dichotomy that Israeli companies are holding, the response and also the optimism of looking forward. And congratulations on the recognition by Time. It was very significant.
Thank you.
Moshe, over to you.
The word crisis in Chinese comprised of two signs. One is a risk, the other one is opportunity. So I choose the latter. And Garnox is a company with 2 series production contracts, is focused on delivering our customers and expanding our businesses, not only in Israel, but around the world. I think that, we are all trying to do some evasive maneuvers of the big elephant that surrounds us, is what will be in Israel after the war, from the civil society, from around us. I think that we will grow because we're going to have a spring after this winter, and flowers. We're going to see flowers, and the economy is going to keep on booming. And I believe that even though we will carry on this huge gap in our hearts and in our economy, I truly believe that we will emerge as a strong nation, as we always did. It took Moses to lead the Israelites 40 years in the desert, but now we're just using ways. So we knew how to overcome big challenges, and I truly believe that we will be able to do so. I think that what we've seen since October 7th is the amazing civil society that we have in Israel. Yeah. And I truly believe, and I truly put my confidence in our employees and our citizens, and I truly believe that even though we have been failed by our government, our state, I think that the people, the nation, will know how to overcome this, and we will see the industry keep on growing, because I think that innovation is in our heart and soul of almost every Israeli here.
Yeah.
So, I believe that next year, when you're going to have the call, you're going to exceed 800 companies, because we just keep on. We just cannot stop innovating and
amazing,
promising the world with our innovation.
Amazing. Just like resilience is in the DNA, so is innovation, it seems. And you're right, the civil society response has, I think, given a lot of renewed hope for many of us here in Israel of what the society is capable of to move things forward. So I want to thank our 3 startup speakers, to Moshe, to Amit, and to Sophie. Thank you for your contribution into painting a picture for all of us here about what the experience is for startups during these days. So typically, our annual gala event for EcoMotion includes a series of startup pitches. Both before and again after the war started, EcoMotion conducted surveys, and one thing was consistent. The greatest need for startups these days is, number 1, fundraising, and number 2, finding the right strategic partners and investors. So with that in mind, and with the constraints of doing a virtual gala, we decided to do pitching a bit differently this year. We created an online video playlist where startups can feature their pitch, and you can take home and watch later. So we've curated a list of 29 startups, each looking for either investments or strategic partners. On each video description, we include the contact information, so please reach out directly to the startup if relevant, and you can say EcoMotion referred you. So here you can scan the QR code with your phone, and also Asaf will share the playlist link here in the chat as we speak. So look over to the chat, copy paste it, and save it. You'll also get it in your email later. So now we have a few additional things to share with you about what's going on with EcoMotion. Save the date. In just a few weeks, around 30 EcoMotion startup companies will be attending CES in Las Vegas. Just an indication that business continues and are still flying abroad for opportunities such as this conference. So now, as we speak, we're preparing a landing page to share with you the companies that will be attending and their details. And furthermore, we EcoMotion will be hosting a happy hour event to meet and greet one another and for you to meet the startups. It will take place at the TomTom Pavilion. Spots are limited for this happy hour. So if you or your colleague will be there, please reach out directly to me or the EcoMotion team, and we'll share with you the registration link. Next is that over the past few months, we've been under the radar and updating the EcoMotion website. And we're proud to announce the launch of a new face and look for ecomotion.org.il. We've collected and updated our resources and the toolkits to share, which includes an ongoing effort of mapping the ecosystem, investors, industry partners, government players, and startups. So if you're new to the community, either as a startup, industry, investor, and want to be featured on any of our resources, see the link in the chat. Asaf will also share with you the link, and also reach out via the website. And now a word about EcoMotion Week, because many have been asking. And we too are being patient given the current political situation in Israel to determine when and how we can host EcoMotion Week 2024. We're doing everything to assure that it will be possible, and we are hopeful and believe that we can still hold EcoMotion Week as scheduled. But please stay tuned to announcements from us according to the situation. So to wrap, I do want to sincerely thank everyone who took part in this event, to the entire McKinsey team, to Marina, to Anat, to Martin and Kirsten, your amazing partners in producing this report, to our partner, Honda Accelerator Ventures and Ben, locally in Israel, to all the startups who are continuing to persevere with business as usual, despite the circumstances. We see you and we support you. I want to give a big thank you to the EcoMotion team, Danielle and Asaf, who each played a key role in making this Gala event happen online. Thank you. We, the EcoMotion team, are here for you to continue to support this global ecosystem to grow and to thrive. So be in touch with us, and we're glad to help in any way that we can. So it wouldn't be a proper EcoMotion event if there wasn't some networking that happened. But this time it is virtual, okay? So this room is filled with some amazing connections. In a moment, I'm gonna invite you to stay online in the Zoom to meet and greet some new faces. We'll be creating some breakout rooms, and you will have a chance to introduce yourself, your company, your interests, and so forth for about maximum 15 minutes in the Zoom room. What do you have to lose? The worst thing that can come out of it is a new business deal, and that's not so bad. So the main room here will continue to be open, and the EcoMotion team will stay online. If you're not able to stay past the time due to time constraints, this is now the time to drop off the Zoom link. But for everyone else, I invite you to stay on and meet a new face from the ecosystem, say hi, connect with somebody. And thank you again for joining us on this gala and continuing to support the mobility tech ecosystem in Israel and abroad, and look forward to being in touch with you. So please stay patient, hold on for an extra moment while we prepare the breakout rooms, and click enter when you get a prompt for it. If anyone is left here in the main room, I invite you to open your mic, say hello, give a wave.
Like, that Mapless is best, and we're more than happy to share some more information about that. We do have autonomous vehicles driving on 4 continents now in the US, from our San Jose, California office, here in Haifa, in Germany, and also in Japan. So if anyone is interested